Good evening, welcome to BetRacingNation here on Sports Tonight Live. A lovely day outside, great festival going on at York the Dante Festival. Great Gatsby wins today and obviously leaves Australia as odds on for the Derby. We are going to talk all things York and all things the Derby a little bit later on. But first of all, let's introduce the panel. And we've got a very selective panel this evening, shall I say. Sam Boswell, good evening, Sam.
Evening, Peter. Great to be here.
Yeah, fabulous. And Billy, good evening.
Good evening, Peter. Good to be here as well.
What we're doing, we're actually saving everyone's wages to the time we get on to Sky 212, which comes on Derby Day, 7th of June. We are here on Saturday with a full team, but this is our last Thursday for a while. Just to let you know from the outset that we'll be on live every Saturday from Derby Day, but also the Thursdays forum, if you like, will be replaced by a couple of YouTube clips and other various things that we will do. But this is our last Thursday show for a while.
Sad times.
It's a sad times, but we are going to Sky.
On to the future.
Absolutely. We are going to have a chat with John Hanley, the managing coordinator for Racemakers 2014. Now, if you're not aware of what Racemakers do, we've got John on the phone to explain what they do. Good evening, John.
Evening, Pete. Evening, listeners.
Thanks very much for joining us, John. Obviously, you've had one or two meetings already where the Racemakers, hashtag Racemakers 2014 have started. But for anyone that doesn't know, and certainly one of our panellists didn't know up until today, how do people get involved?
Well, basically, you can log on to www.britishchampionseries.com, and there is an online application form there. It'll just ask you for a short bio about yourself. What was your trigger for horse racing, what your experience is, why you think you're good with people, and most effective, or most importantly, why you think you'll make a good racemaker. Because don't forget, the demand has been absolutely tremendous. I've had getting on for 200 applicants, would you believe, in the last 3 months. So demand has gone through the roof. Everyone wants to be a racemaker. It's basically what everyone's talking about.
And in terms of, I mean, presumably there's people there to help with the betting, the paddock guides and race call guides. Is that pretty much what's on offer for the right candidate? And how do you select those candidates, John?
How do I what? Sorry.
How do you select those candidates?
Well, the candidates, I have a look at the online application form. I have a look at the bio. I ring everyone personally. So everyone who's ever applied, I will ring and have a little small, short telephone conversation with them. I'll ask them what the trigger was to get them involved in the sport, and I'll get a feel for what they're like with people, and then the selection process will go from there, really. The racemakers themselves, they're split up, in, as you rightly say, Pete, into 3 sections. Paddock judges, or parade ring judges, whatever you want to call it, betting experts, and racecourse experts. But you'll find on a lot of occasions there's a crossover. So if a nice young couple have come to racing for the first time and they've had a look around the parade ring and they're not sure what to look for, the course man will then show them the horses in the pre-parade ring, as it were, and then hand them over to the betting guide who'll take them out to the bookmakers and show them how to put a bet on and tell them what it's all about. Basically, what racemakers are there for, Pete, as you know, is to enhance the customer experience. We want them to come back, and as I say, everyone's talking about it at the moment. We couldn't be more pleased. And
obviously, as a race goer, I think it's encouraging that obviously a number of courses have the aspect where they have concerts at the end of the evening, and they probably remember the concert more than the racing. And I guess this is to enhance one's memory of the day, so they go back and actually watch the racing at a future date. That's a fair comment as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there, Pete. We want to give these new racegoers a little nugget, something to remember. At Newmarket a couple of weeks ago, there was a couple who'd been to 2 race meetings before, but they didn't understand what a pre-parade ring was. So I got one of my best girls who works for a top stable in Newmarket to take them over to the pre-parade ring. There was a 2-year-old race at Newmarket, just to show them these youngsters who'd never seen a racecourse before, the behavioural pattern, what to look for in terms of condition. And basically, it's like getting in there at ground floor level and seeing these thoroughbreds as a 2-year-old, never set foot on a racecourse before, and how they're behaving. And that very couple have taken away that memory from the racecourse, and now they've got the hunger, they've got the passion, they've got the desire to come back because they've been shown something that they didn't really know existed, to be honest.
And the meetings that are coming up are the Epsom Derby, which you're involved with, the King George meeting, and then Glorious Goodwood. What's the time scale for people? Is it gone for Epsom now, or are you still looking at candidates for Epsom?
Well, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, we're fully subscribed now for Epsom. It's been that way for a number of weeks. Epsom, Oaks and Derby, that's now fully subscribed. So too is the King George Day at Ascot. Now, I have got 3 or 4 places available for Glorious Goodwood, Pete. As you know, 5 days Glorious Goodwood this year. 29th, 30th and 31st of July and the 1st and 2nd of August. I've got about 4 or 5 places left for that. We then move back to Ascot for the Champions meeting, and then we're heading off to Cheltenham for the Paddy Power, the Open meeting. I'm fully subscribed for that. I think I've got 1 place left for Newbury's Hennessy meeting, and I can give you some breaking news. We've got a top trainer, one of the country's top trainers, who's actually going to act as a racemaker for us at the Hennessy meeting, and also acting as a racemaker at the Hennessy meeting is going to be a former jockey who's actually ridden a Hennessy winner, but we can't release his name just yet. That is fully subscribed, but we have got 2 places also for the final racemakers meeting of the year, and that is the King George at Kempton on Boxing Day. So listen, I don't know whether you, Pete, if you're looking for an excuse to get out of the leftovers at the in-laws buffet on Boxing Day, get yourself along to Kempton on Boxing Day. We're looking for 2 or 3 more.
Okay, and there's one meeting actually just missed out, which is the Ebor. Is that fully subscribed?
The Ebor, I've got 1 place left on the Friday. As you know, it's Wednesday through to Saturday. And Claire King, who's formerly Kim Tate of Emmerdale Farm fame, of course, well-known, successful racing owner. I'm trying to have between 10 and 12 racemakers at each meeting or each day. And I think I've got 1 place left on the Friday at York. You'll have to get in really, really quickly if you want that place. York filled up very, very quickly. It is, of course, the most northerly track that we're covering this year.
Okay, and finally, they get refreshment voucher, and they also get access to, obviously, when approved, they get free entry to the racecourse.
They do. They get to keep the jacket as well. The royal blue jacket's worth a fortune. I mean, people are bending over backwards.
I did hear, sorry to interrupt you, John, I did hear that if it had been red, you may have reconsidered, but we won't go into that.
Oh, you've heard on the grapevine.
Yeah,
well, the royal blue, it's nothing to do with my football allegiance. It's the Kipco colours, of course, and we've got royal blue jackets and polo shirts with Racemaker emblazoned across it. So the lucky racemakers actually get to keep those that attire as well, and they do get a ticket for a further race meeting, and they get refreshment vouchers, and of course they won't have to pay to get in. Okay. These are passionate volunteers, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm blown over by the passion that they've showed me so far. Absolutely blown over. I've been in the game in a hell of a long time. And it's absolutely so heartwarming and tremendous to see. It's great for the sport, really is great for the sport. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And next year, presumably, it will be expanded upon and be much more opportunities. And quickly, Sam, you wanted to ask one quick question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, John, in your opinion, I mean, is this going to be something that we're going to see going longer term? Are we hoping to keep it going so we continue to improve racecourse attendances?
In an ideal world, Sam and Pete, we'd like to roll it out to the whole of the country, of course, and it is going to improve racecourse attendance. Racegoers like something that's new. We all like something that's new, that's different. It's been hugely successful so far this season. Next season's obviously going to be a different kettle of fish. We'll see how the land lies when we move into January, but it's been hugely successful so far. What I will say, to answer your question really, is that people are talking about the racemakers.
Good.
And that is what it's all about. If they're talking about the racemakers, they're loving the racemakers. So I don't see any reason why it can't be rolled out in the future to all 60 racecourses.
Okay. Well, thanks very much indeed for your time, John. If anyone's watching, we hope they are, you'll be in touch, and there'll be the hashtag is Racemaker 2014, and your Twitter handle is Hanley on the ball. Can they contact you that way, I presume? And also through other means?